Okay, the last knowledge check in this module is 8.3.4. So let's go ahead and check this one out. Okay, so the first step is check out the help documentation for read_CSV by executing $read_CSV. What parameter in read_CSV allows us to specify values that represent missing values? So I don't even need to have a code chunk under here because we can just go ahead, come over here and do read_CSV. Well, now we need to be careful because when I did that, it actually flipped it to read.csv. We want read underscore. And since I don't have this package loaded right now, what I need to do is actually go to read R. So point to the package name and then the function. And then I will get the help information. Now, in the help information, you'll see it kind of pops up as read_delim. Within read R, the most generic function to read any kind of delimited file, whether it's a CSV, a tab separated, or any other type of delimited file, is this read_delim. And then most of the arguments within that one get passed on to the more specialized. So read_CSV is pretty much read_delim, but focused on just comma separated. All right, so the question is, what parameter in read_CSV allows us to specify values that represent missing values? So if we just kind of scan read_CSV here, let's see if we notice anything that talks about missing values. Well, we know that missing values are represented by NA, right? And it looks like there's an NA argument within read_CSV. So let's go down to further down the help information. It's got the argument, so we can go look for certain arguments here. And we see NA. So it says character vector of strings to interpret as missing values. So basically, we could actually pass a character vector that has multiple values that are used within the CSV file to represent missing values. And that can be common actually, where you have sometimes like the number 999 gets represented as missing values rather than just leaving it empty or missing. You will also see nulls, NANs, and like actual character string NA entered into CSVs. So that just allows us to work around those kind of issues. All right, so let's go to the second one here. Read in the energy consumption CSV file. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this data frame energy. And instead of loading the entire readr package, I'm just going to point to the readr package and snag that CSV function. And I believe I have this file located in the data and then energy consumption. This should be the correct path. And it says it is not. So let me go ahead and see. Do I have... data? Oh, okay. All right, so I actually had it just because of where I am doing the recordings and I have these documents located. I had to adjust my directory to be pointing to the right location. Okay, so I've got my data set. It looks like it's got a little over 2,000 rows and 3 columns. So what are the dimensions of this data? What data type is each column? So let's go ahead. And first of all, I'm just going to look at what energy looks like. And we see we have 3 columns, date, source, and energy measured in BTUs. So what's the actual dimensions? We can get that with the dim function. We see we have 2,192 rows and 3 columns. And what data type is each column? Actually, a very easy way to get all this information is to use there's a structure function. And so this is kind of a built-in R function that will tell you what your dimensions are up here, and then it tells you the actual column name here, and it gives you some other information. You can disregard that. Another one that prints out a little bit more nicely than this is provided by the dplyr package, and we will take a look at dplyr here in the next module, but I'll show you this function here. And so dplyr is kind of nice because it'll give you the number of rows and columns at the top, and then we have our columns, column names listed along vertically, and then it will tell you what is the data type. So we have a date stamp for the first column. We have a character string for the second, and double, or like numeric, the floating point, decimal value, numeric numbers for the third. And the last one is apply dplyr. Oh, okay. Well, so to answer number 3, I just jumped pretty much right down to number 4 and showed you guys the dplyr glimpse. Now, in this case, it asked to go ahead and show the Ames data. Now, the Ames data was data that was illustrated within the resources. So I'll leave this one to you. I showed you what Glimpse does for the energy data. You can go ahead and apply that to the Ames and kind of see what information it provides back.